Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin-yoku, the Oppenheimer Ranch News Network, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Saturday, October 17th, around, let's say, 10:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Now, the models are showing heavy snow, as we predicted 7 days ago. Many people said that our models are going to be off, but I knew they were increasing, so what we were forecasting on 10 days ago is going to be ever more. Al Gore's a bore. Take a look at some of the snow totals up in the northern tier. This is predicted by a La Nina winter, which is what we're experiencing. But the big story, yes, Saturday snow in northern Minnesota has already begun. Keep calm. It's the beginning of fall. Snow expected across northern Wisconsin this weekend. Metro, Milwaukee, Green Bay could see a few flakes too. Just a small spattering of 1 to 2 inches across a quarter of the state. We also have snow in upper Michigan. Looks beautiful. Christmas far away. First snowfall reported in parts of northern New England as well. The mountains of New Hampshire and Maine will see an accumulation above 1,500 feet. The higher elevation you go, the more snow. Ho, ho, ho. Maine gets its first real snowfall of the season. A season of pleasing. Global warming goodness falling everywhere. Take a look. Gorgeous. A couple walking their dog in West Paris, Maine. Today, higher elevations in western Maine got their first significant snowfall for the season. Welcome to the Grand Solar Minimum. Early snow draws handful of skiers to Saddleback in Maine to pull it down and pump it back. 10 inches up there. Hello. Just like when I remember in the 80s. During the other solar cycles, during the minimums. Now, Florida's first snow park sets its opening date. Look at that. Why would they build a snow park in Florida if global warming was real? They wouldn't. Snowcat Ridge, Florida's first snow park, is set to open November 20th. It's just that cold in northern Florida. Snow from the northern Rockies to the northern plains. Heat and critical fire weather in California. Low pressure will sweep from the northern Rockies into the northern plains this weekend. Happening now, bringing the first accumulating snowfall, which we just reported on, of the season to many areas. While cool weather will prevail in the east, parts of California and the southwest will be unusually warm, but the upper Midwest will be unusually cold. We showed you yesterday, high temperatures in Minnesota barely reached 40 in many areas. And that's, well, sign of the times. GFS model showing by the beginning of November, it could be in October to remember. We could see record snows in Texas, the nexus of the Schmexis, record snows in north central Arizona in October. Hello. Let's walk it through real quick what the models are saying. And so the first 5 to 7 days are quite accurate. So here we see through Monday, look at this heavy snow band that moves down through western Montana into eastern Wyoming and even into Nebraska and South Dakota. It's going to be chilly there. And then a second band, Tuesday through Wednesday, moves through eastern Canada, but first cripples parts of Minnesota with up to 7 inches to a foot of snow in some regions. This strip is also going to hit Wisconsin. So that's happening in the next 4 days. And then we have a secondary event, which could bring up to 16 inches of snow to the South Carolina, North Dakota border. And the mainstream is not going to be reporting on any of this. Look at the accumulations up in eastern Canada before we hit November. Hello! Remember when they told us a couple years ago we were never going to see snow again? Yeah, well, they couldn't have been more wrong. Now, here's a map of the Cameron Peak fire evacuations around Larimer County in northern Colorado. The only reason I can show this to you is because I live in Colorado, and the Coloradan is allowing us to view this for free, or else I'd need a subscription here. Now, it is the largest fire in Colorado history up in the northern part of the region. The Cameron Peak fire has continued to burn in northern Colorado, surpassing 199,000 acres. Now, I can tell you why that's happening. In my region, it hasn't rained in like 70 days. We are in the desert, but this is unprecedented. There is no rain in the future. and we're just waiting on it. We're hoping for that snow to hit in just about 2 weeks. Heavy precipitation coming. But voluntary and mandatory evacuations have been called due to the fire as it grows, the largest fire in Colorado's recorded history. Now, up in this northern region of Colorado, they do not do the type of control burns and fire mitigation that they're doing down in our region, which, because there's limited populations. So this adds insult to injury. This is the same reason that California is burning epically, because they're not managing the forest correctly up in this region currently. Seismic update. Wow. Hawaii going boom boom. So we're waiting for a boom boom in Hawaii. We're also waiting for the boom boom in Iceland. And we have some space weather to report on. And as we enter high seismic risk time, which is the next 7 to 10 days, we're going to be seeing some large earthquakes popping off anytime starting now. And we'll show you how. Now, first, let's take a look at the worldwide volcano news update. After those 30 to 40 hours of KP0, we should be seeing some uptick in volcanic activity, and we do see a minor uptick. Nothing significant. Let me go back to the actual page here. Popo popping off. We've got Abico, and in the last 24 hours, we've got Swanosima. Sabancaya going almost to 30,000 at a 27,000-foot puff. Sangay also puffing to 19, Popo to 18.5. Nevados de Ruiz, who's been in the quiet for a while, kicking off a 19,000-foot puff pass, and several other volcanoes. So come check that out. Nothing significant, but there is a significant uptick in space weather. We had a period of moderate sea flares from a departing sunspot that went around the eastern limb just the other day, and we have some increased activity up in the upper A range happening now. The phi angle is getting a little jiggy, but thankfully the speed and the density are increasing, which is bringing us off that KP0 level up into normal geomagnetic activity. But the KP0 period, and here's that flare that just happened the other day off the eastern limb. Boom! From that departing sunspot, the C flare right here. Here's the coronal mass ejection associated with it. This is where Earth is in this region, straightforward, and you can see this is not going to affect us in any way. So that's good news. The bad news is the KP0 40 hours has probably moved more magma into the Iceland region. Now, earthquake activity increases in Reykjanes and Kjusvik volcanoes, which is on the eastern tip of the mid-ocean ridge of Iceland. Since the 15th October 2020, there has been a slow increase in small earthquakes, as well as ground deformation and swelling, which is indicative of intrusion of magma into that region. So here's the moderate earthquake swarm, which is on that mid-ocean ridge area, which we expect several earthquakes to be popping off in the coming seconds, times, weeks, or minutes. It is not possible to know how this is going to develop, since what happens depends on the amount of magma moving and what that does. It is unclear if this inflation or deflation event taking place currently, it might take a few days. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on this region as it develops. Mark my words. Strangely behaving red supergiant Betelgeuse. Smaller and closer than first thought. Now, if you haven't picked up what we've put down over the last 4 years or so, scientists are in a conundrum. Every one of their models that they use for the cosmological information that they report on has been come into question. The astronomical model, the models of the nuclear fusion of suns and stars, almost everything that's taught to children through adults in academia is probably false. Now we've spent, I wish someone would have calculated how many billions of dollars we've spent. Do you see this right there? Yeah. I don't know how many billions of dollars we've spent on false climate models and false paradigms, especially the search for dark energy and dark matter. That could be one of the biggest wastes of money in all of human history, but I'm sure something bigger will come in the future. But the fact that we know nothing about what's actually happening in cosmology is embarrassing, and that the electric universe model and the plasma universe model far better explain thousands of times than the standard model. And why no one's embracing the model that better explains it is anyone's guess. So there's that. But the strangely behaving red supergiant Betelgeuse is smaller and closer than thought. And why would anyone believe that they know what they're talking about? Let's just hear what they say. Dr. Joyce says the supergiant, which is part of the Orion constellation, has long fascinated scientists. Well, of course, because it's an Orion. It has long fascinated ancient cultures for tens of thousands of years, idiots. But lately it has been behaving strangely. And I'm pretty sure it's behaved strangely in the past. Now, they're claiming that we were waiting for a supernova, but it's not going to happen for billions of years because we are that intellectually correct on this. Except it's closer than we thought, and we don't really know what we're talking about. But the reason it dimmed recently is because of a dust cloud. And we're sure of that, except that it's much closer than we thought before, which we weren't so sure of. But we're sure on the other thing, but not on the one thing. But now we're sure, and we're surer than we've ever been sure before. It's like a shark factory. Science is dead. All the money is spent now by government propagandists that are lobbyists that have destroyed our democracy, destroyed science completely. Let's take a look at this one. Now, this is science now. We have now measured the smallest portion of a second, as if it's even a thing. That's just a lower denomination of a second. So there's a tenth of a second, then there's a thousandth of a second, but now they've actually measured the smallest amount of a second. Is that even important? Now, scientists have measured the shortest unit of time ever, which makes them probably the most pathetic group ever, if that's an accomplishment. Now, the time it takes a light particle to move across a hydrogen molecule at the speed of light, and that time, for the record, is 247 zeptoseconds, like zepto retardation, zepto idiocracy, or zeptosecond. A zeptosecond is a trillionth of a billionth of a second, like a quadrillion. It's a number that we don't care about, nor do we care about the zeptosecond, except it's now a number of measure for the speed of light across the atom of hydrogen, which is going to solve all of our problems, by the way. I wonder how much money was spent on the zeptosecond. Did you ever think about that? Billions and billions of people are starving while we determine the zeptosecond. NASA's OSIRIS-REx, about to land on an asteroid called Bennu. Here's what will happen. Well, it's actually more like a pump fake. It's just going to go boom and then go back off. In a first for the space agency, the van-sized spacecraft, just like Scooby-Doo, will try to swipe across souvenirs to bring home to Earth. But it might not be easy. Easy peasy. They're just going to go in, inject a hypodermic needle, pump some heron into the asteroid, and just suck out some rock. It's that simple. NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft will briefly touch down on a large asteroid next week and grab some rocks and dust from the surface of Bennu and return it to Earth for study. The event marks a major first for NASA and a potential boon for science, space exploration, and our understanding of the solar system, or not. The touch-and-go tag sample collection of asteroid 101955 Bennu is set to go down Tuesday, October 20th at 3:12 p.m. Pacific time. NASA will be broadcasting the tag maneuver live. So this is going to be a piece of history, and we should all go there and watch the tag maneuver live in case something goes wrong. Trump administration announces deal with CVS and Walgreens to administer coronavirus vaccine to seniors in long-term care facilities. Now, these are the only people on the planet that need this vaccine. So, big thumbs up to President Trump and the administration announcing their deal with CVS and Walgreens to give this vaccine to the only group of people on Earth that actually need it. The rest of us are fine, by the way. And let's look into a little bit more about the science being uncovered about the COVID vaccine, specifically brain impacts, including the COVID fog, suspected COVID fog for the long-term ailments for people who have, well, actually the people who have actually gotten this, not the rest of us.
Fog is one of the many potential complications of COVID-19.
But now there is an effort underway to find out why and how the coronavirus can impact survivors' cognitive abilities. Our Dr. Frank McGeorge is here to explain.
A number of survivors have reported problems concentrating, multitasking, and organizing long after many of their other symptoms were resolved. Researchers hope these survivors may hold clues to help us learn more about how the virus strikes and why some are more severely affected.
Go into a room and I didn't remember why I was there.
Like my memory has just gotten so much worse.
Father and daughter Diego and Natalia Raspini say their entire family was infected with COVID in April. 17-year-old Natalia says simple school tasks like remembering class times suddenly became difficult.
So I definitely noticed my clock in my head was off.
It's all related, right? The fact that people are losing their sense of smell, the fact that people are losing their sense of taste, and the brain fog, all this whole system is neurological.
So it is my humble opinion that the PCR test, if you don't know, is garbage. But I will not make a video on it because I will be completely taken down immediately at that point. So I'm hedging my bets on that. But the PCR test is garbage. And so this increase in cases has nothing to do with COVID-19. COVID-19 is affecting less than the normal amount of people that the flu would affect. But the PCR test is the gateway to globalism, and it simply allows 5 times the amount of the population to test positive for COVID when they don't even have COVID, but they've had a coronavirus or some other virus. Now, the actual people that get the COVID-19 SARS-2 virus replicating in their body, they have some lasting side effects, which are pretty bizarre, but are not debilitating in any physical way. They're just weird. And this is probably part of the reason why it should be considered a manufactured bioweapon more than anything else. But that's just me and my opinion. And this is a role play, and we're just making stuff up anyway. But we're using information from the mainstream that they claim is true to create our own narrative. And that narrative is that PCR tests are being used to set policy to destroy small business and crush you in the world when they really don't. And if you know about even the inventor of the PCR test, he claimed that it could not determine infectious disease ever. It can determine maybe if you had something or maybe if you came in contact with something, but not if you actually have a viral infection at this current time. So therein lies the problem with the ongoing rise in cases. The spike in cases is the spike in PCR testing, nothing more. Increased hospitalizations are going to happen if you scare the entire 8 billion people in the population. A few tens of thousands of them are going to get hysterical. If they test PCR positive, they're actually going to cause their bodies to shut down due to hysteria. I think that's the major effect and the major lesson we're not learning from this. But there are some people that actually have something and have lasting effects. One thing I want to end with tonight, though, is the lasting effect of CO2. Good friend of mine over at Smash-O-Mash channel, Daniel Nigro, posted this on social media today. And I've posted similar things over the last decade or so. And it's global temperature and atmospheric CO2 over the last 600 million years. There is no evidence of CO2 driving temperature. There is only evidence of temperature driving CO2. Not only that, CO2, optimal CO2 is around 1,000, between 900 and 1,500 parts per million. And we're at 400. If we drop below 250, the world dies. Yet this Green New Deal and these globalists want to bring CO2 down below 300, which would literally kill the planet and would cause multinational corporations to have to manufacture food out of factories in some kind of sludge punch. This is on purpose. We need CO2 to continue to rise for the next 1,000 years or more. We need it to get up to 800, 900, 1,000. And just the 100 parts per million rise we've seen over the last century has caused the greening of the earth, proven and supported by NASA, some of the dumbest schmucks we ever hate. But those are the facts. So there is a good outcome to us burning shit. So continue to burn as much as you possibly can in your backyard as it's legally possible. Add CO2 to the environment, make the earth green, and we love you. And those are the facts. Hope you got something out of the video. I just stuck it right up here. And I hope you enjoyed it. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance as we are dumbed down, down, and down into the tiny corner of the planet that they want us, which is basically in a dirt hole, right? Pushing daisies. Thanks to all of our one-time donors. I can't even believe it. My mind is blown. Thanks to all our new Patreons. We just pushed above $2,000 a month. We want to hit our goal at $3,000 a month, and then I don't even have to worry about YouTube ever, never, ever. Because I'll just get a Vimeo account, and this will be a private channel. So don't worry about the censorship. We're also starting a new platform called Theta TV, if you want to Google it, Theta. It's Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Zeta, Eta, Theta TV. Theta TV is a new platform. I just went on Twitter and begged for my acceptance keys. Please send them some kind words for the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Let's get streaming over on Theta, where there is no censorship. And if you guys watch the video and you become members at Theta, guess what? You make money watching our channel. How awesome is that? You make money watching us while we make you famous. Be safe. We love you. Click on one of the boxes illuminating around the rim to gain more knowledge. And we thank each and every one of you. The most important person in the room is the one that shares this video. No, that one. Yeah. Be safe. And Tiny Diamond loves you. And that's boom to knowledge. Be safe. Share.